All
Welcome
right.
back, guys, to Baby Got Stacks.
Welcome back.
We're here for another week of thriller book. I
Yes.
yeah. This month has, I feel like, a lot of. I mean, we did the one romance, but then Finley
Yeah.
Donovan was kind of the mystery
Yeah.
suspense.
That was a good transition from a romance into a romance mystery into a mystery thriller.
This was quite the thriller book.
It was really suspenseful, I will say.
Yes. Yes. So this week we read The Family Game by Catherine Steedman.
Steadman, something like that.
Steadman. Sorry if I'm
What I
butchering
did
that.
not look up was whether this was her first novel or not. I don't think it's her debut, but I
Well,
don't know what else she has written.
good thing I've got my technology right next to me and I can go into Goodreads and pull up this bad boy and take a look.
It's in the book.
She's she's written Something in the Water. I've seen that one. The cover of that one looks familiar.
Okay.
The Disappearing Act, Mr. Nobody also looks familiar.
That sounds familiar.
That
Oh, yeah, that does look familiar.
Yeah, that cover looks familiar. She's got, well, it says Stockholm and then it says Getaway number 3. So is there
Oh,
more books to
whatever one
whatever?
and two
Okay.
is.
Yes, but it looks like Something in the Water was her biggest one that had
Mm.
over 177,000 ratings, and the other ones
Oh, wow.
don't even hit 50,000. So
Wow.
yes.
Well, this one was a book of the month pick, I think from October or November.
Yes. This book came out October 18th, 2022. This is her latest book.
Mm-hmm.
Her first one was in 2018.
Okay. She's been around a little bit.
A little bit. I've seen her books in Target.
Mm. Okay.
That's where I've seen them from.
Would you like to read the synopsis?
Yes, I can. Harriet Reed, a novelist on the brink of literary stardom, is newly engaged to Edward Holbeck, the heir of a powerful family. And though Edward has long tried to sever ties with them, news of the couple's intimate marital bliss has the Holbecks inching back into their lives. As Harriet is drawn into their lavish world, the family seems perfectly welcoming. So when Edward's father, Robert, hands Harriet a tape of a book he's been working on, she is eager to listen. But as she presses play, it's clear that this isn't just a novel, it's a confession. A confession to a grisly crime, a murder, and suddenly the game is in motion. Feeling isolated and confused, Harriet must work out if this is part of a plan to test her loyalty, or something far darker. What is it that Robert sees in her? Why give her the power to destroy everything? This might be a game to the Holbeck family, but for Harriet, losing might prove deadly. Dun dun dun. I
Shall we say
thought,
ratings?
yes. So I gave it a 4 because it really kept me on my toes. Because I didn't know how it was going to end.
Yeah.
And how intense Catherine makes this prominent family seem. Like with the elaborate games and everything like that. I really liked the writing style. You could really feel like you were there.
I did like her writing style. Now I gave it a 3. At first I gave it a 4.
And I
had time to process.
I did see that, and I would like to get into that.
Gave it a 3. I literally wrote boring but kept me reading.
Oh, okay.
Because not much happens.
It did
but
take
yet
me a
while.
while.
A lot of things happen.
It took me a while to get into it.
That's what I also put, well paced, but yet dragged on in some cases.
Okay.
And my biggest pet peeve was, why didn't she just fucking listen to the whole tape at one time? Just fucking do it. Why didn't you just listen to the whole fucking tape?
Yeah.
Oh, it was so frustrating. I was like, just listen to the whole thing. It probably says something. And it did. And if she just listened to it sooner.
Yes. The twist with Edward, I thought was a good one. I honestly was not expecting that.
I'm still confused. Why he was it? I put, didn't see twist coming, but it's because it didn't make sense, so I didn't think of it.
I definitely thought it made more sense for Robert to be
Yeah.
the bad guy
Yeah.
because of being like the head of the
hmm
household, kind of.
I wish it was either more implied it wasn't Robert, or have it be at the end the whole family didn't know it was Edward.
Okay.
Like if they didn't know why everything was happening and thought maybe just someone was trying to like get at the family for some reason through
I
like
get that.
the
Or the
people
nanny.
yeah, that would have been a good one. I wanted something more out of the nanny because she was literally there just to like I guess just like, yeah, your theory is a little more correct, and then literally went away. It's like, oh, we could have gotten so much more information about her, or like
It also
something
really,
sketch.
it really bugged me. One, Fiona pissed me right off at
Ugh,
the end.
Fiona.
Two, I don't understand, like, I kind of understand. I don't understand why Edward didn't say anything to Harriet about Bobby. Why he never told her who Bobby
Yeah,
was.
yeah,
It
that was
wouldn't have
an
been
unnecessary
suspicious.
withheld knowledge.
Yes.
Yeah, he literally could have just said, "Hey, I had an older brother. He passed away.
I don't
The
like to talk
family's still
about it.
sore about it. We don't really talk about it. That's it.
And
That literally could
done.
have just been it."
Yeah.
And oh, and Harry's past
Oh
was
my
so
God.
anticlimactic.
It
I
was
thought it was gonna
good,
be
but it
something
didn't.
way bigger.
Well, it was good, but it didn't need to, like, every time. But I have my secret. Okay, what is your
Yeah,
secret?
yeah. It in my head it built up to be something much more than she decided to kill
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
drunk driver who crashed into her car as a child. Which
Yeah.
in a child's head, I mean, she wasn't like terribly young. She was like 11.
She was 11.
But in 11 years mind, I can see why she made the decision. Like I wouldn't be appalled.
No.
Like you
Been like,
just saw your parents. Yeah.
yeah.
And so every time she's like a secret, I was like, oh, she murdered someone. But no, she
Well, and
just made a
I mean,
childish decision.
I mean, she did murder
Well,
someone.
yeah, but
But
like,
not like
ugh,
stab them kind of thing.
yeah, not
I
in
guess,
as gruesome, terrible
I
way
guess
as I
we've really
thought.
just went to the end,
We
kind
really
of.
did. Well, I mean, most of this book is build up,
It is build up.
very
So,
mundane build up to.
yeah. So Harriet and Edward meet. Harriet is a novelist. She came out with her first debut book, and it was a bestseller. It was huge. She sold over 1 million copies. She moved from the UK to the United States to be with Edward, who she met
Mhm.
at it was at a like the Natural
Uh,
Museum, but it was
yeah, that's
for
right. That's right.
for a work function.
hmm
And then she's trying to write this second book, and she's starting to hit the deadline, so she's kind of panicking. And she doesn't like big grand gestures. So what does Edward do? Propose to her while uh ice skating at the Rockefeller
Yeah, like
tree,
Times
like the
Square. Yeah,
giant 80-foot Christmas tree, while
with
people
his
are caroling.
great grandmother, or just
Mitzi,
grandmother's
Mitzi,
Mitzi's ring.
love it. Great grandma's bring.
She's never met his family, and she doesn't really have family. So
No, her parents died in a car crash, which we kind of,
spoilers.
yeah, kind of said already. It was a drunk driver. The secret that Harriet has is she was so mad that she lit the car on fire and killed the man that was inside of it.
She was in the back
Although
of the car, survived.
although he was the man that hit them was a horrible person. Like,
Horrible, horrible man.
yeah, he
But
had like
then her
assault
she's like, but I
charges.
didn't know all of that when I decided to kill him.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm like, well,
Yeah.
whatever. I mean, you
What?
killed him. Meh, what are you
Yeah.
gonna do? Um, and then yeah, what are you gonna do? Kill him? I don't know.
Just
What are
kill
you gonna do? And then that reminds me of the TikTok of that one where it's like, he's just a guy. Hit him with your car.
car.
I love it. So then she's like, well, I think we should meet them. And she's been starting to get sick, which I clearly knew
It
something
was
was
so
up.
obvious.
It really was obvious. She's pregnant. Shocker.
Yeah,
And so she starts meeting the family. Family is very wealthy,
very
like
wealthy.
billions and billions of dollars wealthy.
Mm-hmm.
And she's starting to realize that they like are very high society and they do things like really differently than she's used to, and it just seems
Mm-hmm.
like a lot for her. And Edward, he's always portrayed as the good guy in the sense of he's never like, we need to do this, we need to meet them. He's always like, if you want to go, we will go. You
Yeah.
tell me when, we're gonna go.
He
He
had
seems
kind of a
supportive.
falling out with his father because he's the oldest in the family, and so it was
Now he is.
assumed that, yeah, he would
There
take
was
over the
there was
business.
Bobby.
There was Bobby, but he didn't want to take over the family business. He wanted to try and do something on his own and build up anew.
Hmm.
So it's kind of assumed that that's why there's a strain between Edward and the dad, and why he doesn't show
Hmm.
up to family functions really anymore.
Yeah.
And the family, once they meet Harry, kind of pull her aside, like, hey, like, we're so happy you guys are together, but we really want Edward back in the family. And so, I feel like this is a good excuse to, like, have you guys start joining back and getting back into, like, the family traditions. And it's around the
Mhm.
holidays.
Yeah.
The first visit is on Thanksgiving that Harry didn't realize was Thanksgiving because she's British, so she didn't really think when she's invited to dinner, she's like, oh, it's just the dinner. No,
I
Thanksgiving
know.
dinner.
I know. He's like, do you know what the day is? She's like, I don't know,
On
Thursday.
Thursday.
He's like, it's Thanksgiving. She's like, oh crap. Yeah. And so then she meets the family. Everyone's very nice and cordial with her. She seems to really like them. She really takes a hit with Robert, which is the
Oh my
dad.
god.
And she's got this like weird,
Attraction.
yeah.
She's always like, oh, maybe it's just because I'm pregnant. It's the hormones. Or like, oh, it's because he looks just like Edward, and that's why. It's
Yeah,
like,
and
why do you
then
keep mentioning it?
like when they're in the car and they're making out and she's like,
Oh,
the lines blurred between Robert and Edward.
I
I'm
know
like,
I shouldn't be
oh.
thinking about him, but I am. It's like,
I'm like,
all right,
oh
stop
no.
thinking of his dad.
No. So then on Thanksgiving, he pulls her aside and gives her a cassette and wants her to read it or listen to it.
Yeah,
And
he's like, oh, you're a writer. I talked the story out. Want your opinion on it. Whatever.
come to find out, that's the confession
It's just
of
confessions
all
to
the people
murders.
that have been murdered, and they all connect. So the first one was Bobby. Bobby was the
Hmm.
oldest son who committed suicide. Originally, Edward told Harriet that he had a drug interaction
An
between Adderall
accidental, yeah,
and something else, and
something
that's what
else.
killed him. But really,
Yeah.
he jumped out of a
Each,
window.
and just happened to also have those drug interactions in his
Yes.
system.
Then
His
there
girlfriend,
was his
Bobby's
girlfriend
girlfriend.
Lucy.
Hmm.
Lucy was there the day that he died and just knew too much.
Yeah, and then her friend.
I know, I'm really trying. You
Mm.
know, you would think with all the tabbies that I own, I would
Oh, you
tab
use them.
things.
But the frustrating part about this was the cassette was like side A, side B, like
Yes.
part one, part two. So she
Yes.
listened to it in parts. She listened to the first part and
Yeah.
then stop and then listen to the second part like a week later. And so like the second part is where like confession starts to kind of happen and it kind of hints that he killed someone. And she's like, I must figure it out who it is. She goes on this whole thing to try to figure out what it is. And
I
then she
got
listens to part three and it just says the name. Like if you just listen to
Yeah.
the next part, he literally says first and last names of everybody.
She really gets into it. Okay, so there's Lucy Probus, 2002, which was Bobby's girlfriend, who was there that night, and Bobby also passed in 2002, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's Allison Montgomery, 2003, Gianna, I'm gonna butcher that last name, Skakia, 2004, Eliza Masri, 2020, and then Melissa Brown, 2021. And then she's just like, oh my god, like Melissa, that was 2021's around the time that like I met Edward.
Yeah.
And so then there's a gap of 16 years between the two sprees, and she can't help but wonder if Robert, like, why he would kill all these people, like if they got
Yeah.
too close. Some of them
She
were Edward's girlfriends, so she's like, well,
One
is
was
he gonna kill
Bobby's
me?
girlfriend, one was Edward's girlfriend, one was the sister's girlfriend.
Yes. I
We
don't
learn all
remember.
this in like the third, fourth of the book.
Yeah, we
We're
learn about
already
this at like
past the middle.
at page 210, and this book goes to like 310. So like in the last 100 pages. So then
Yeah.
we learn that this family really likes games, and they played this game on Christmas. No, yeah, it's
It's
Christmas Eve.
before Christmas. It's the
It's before
German
it's
equivalent
yeah,
for
it's Krampus.
Krampus. Yeah.
Krampus.
Krampus.
Which is terrifying.
Yeah. So what they have is all the kids play, and a bell or a cowbell will ring, and Krampus appears, and they all go running through the house, and they have to find the
Evergreen.
evergreen stick.
Yeah.
And you have to hide from Krampus. Otherwise, if you don't get caught by Krampus, find the stick, and then he'll disappear. Like, you have to show him the stick, and then he'll disappear.
Yeah.
Harry gets roped into playing with, I forgot the little boy's name.
With little Billy.
With little Billy.
Billy
He's
loves
3 years old.
his aunt.
Harriet.
Yeah, he ends up with an EPT, so it's like Harriet. Oh my
Harriet.
god, it's so cute.
It's very cute. But yeah, she gets roped into playing. All the other adults don't. Only one of the other wives.
I think
plays,
Fiona.
Is it Fiona?
I think with one of her kids. Yeah.
So yeah, it's terrifying the way they play this game, because like
Billy peed on her.
Yeah, she's carrying him the whole time, and he peed on her. He's so scared, and eventually Harry gets his stick, and shows the Krampus, and it's a dude in a costume, but
yeah,
like,
but they're using like not CGI, but they're having an image put up on a screen, so it makes it look like way scarier than it actually is.
And no one told Harry like what it was really about. Like, the fun was not knowing, but the adults all have cameras, and like they're watching the game happen, and he's just super mad at her. Like, why didn't you tell me it was like that? Like, I'm pregnant, and
yeah,
like,
and then
I had to carry this little boy the whole time.
And the guy felt her up, like the guy that was playing Krampus or whatever, like pushed her into a wall and was like feeling her up and stuff. Yeah, it was very weird.
That part was so random too, also, because nothing like happened about it. No one talked about it afterwards.
No, it was very weird.
Wasn't even like one of the reasons why she was mad at Edward.
Yeah,
she didn't even bring it up.
It was a strange game. So then we get to Christmas, and they all have to play another game. Shocking. Lila, who is one of the other brothers' girlfriends, doesn't have to play because she has a son with someone else, and she has to go and pick up her son Milo. She doesn't have to play it. And then Robert told her that she has to play alone no matter what. Yeah. And so this game there's only one winner, and there's so many clues, like a treasure hunt basically.
Yeah. Everyone has like 3 clues to their prize.
Yes, and each prize is, no one knows what your prize is unless until the winner is, like, once the winner has won, they get to have their prize, and they get to know everyone else's prize.
And
themselves.
The prizes are the thing everyone needs the most.
Yeah, so you get the knowledge, and it's like weird, like crazy stuff.
It's so weird. It's like,
not just like jewelry.
Well, then you have the knowledge, like you could help someone, or you don't have to help someone, even though you know exactly what it is they need.
Yeah, so it's kind of like a
so
time
weird, like,
because you're obviously wanting to be the first one to find the prize.
Yeah, because you don't want your deepest, darkest secrets to come out.
Yeah.
And Robert knows what her secret is.
Yeah, he kind of like blackmails her on that one. And so they're running around. Everyone knows that she's pregnant, and they make her find a dead body. And before
Falling down a well.
Well, and then
like,
Fiona was, oh my god, she was running around outside too, and then
with a shovel.
they like bumped into each other or something, and then Fiona
In the
just went
hall,
off on
she came
her.
in. Yeah, and she was like, "Listen, I don't think you'll win, but if I win, I want you to abort your child."
Yeah, and
And
never
Harry's
have
like,
kids.
what the fuck? And Fiona's like, well, right now, my kids are first in line for everything. And if you have a kid with the oldest son, then he's the first heir. And
Yeah, yeah. And my kids are gonna get nothing, and
yeah,
you suck, and the whole
yeah,
shebang. And I was like, what? Did she just ask this lady to abort her child?
for her
I was
child.
baffled.
Yeah, it
Baffled.
was like, Jesus Christ. Yeah, she was literally just like, fuck off, Fiona, and then went outside and had to climb down a well to
Yeah, so
find a
they made
dead
her climb
body.
down a well and made her find Melissa down in the well. And
Yeah.
she goes into the house. Well, then Edward calls her while she's.
She's in the maze after she finds Fiona's dead body in like the
Yeah.
hedge maze and like blood everywhere.
Yeah, and then Edward calls her. She's like, "Oh my God, like something's happened with Fiona." She's like, "Where are you at?" And he's like, "I'm in the house." And she's like, "Is everyone okay in there?" And he's like, "No, it's not good." And
It's not
I'm like,
okay. Yeah, he's like, yeah, something's weird is going on. Don't talk to anyone until you find me.
yeah, so then she runs into the house. She finds Eleanor, who's the mother, and
And the sister.
the sister, and everyone's been drugged.
Yeah.
And so she kind of wakes them up enough to get them
Mm-hmm.
out of the house. And then she gets smacked in the back of the head, and she wakes up, and Oliver, who is Edward's brother, is deceased next to her. And then she hears commotion in another room and goes in there, and there's Edward with a gun to Robert's head, his dad. And I'm like, oh, this is not gonna end
This
well.
bitch.
Then we find out that Edward is not really this very nice guy that we all thought he was,
Mm-hmm.
which was a good. I thought that was a good twist.
So is it when he was like explaining what he did? Did he do it just because he just has this urge to kill? Because I know he was saying it's because they have so much information, but I don't think he loves his family enough to like kill to protect them. You know what I mean? That's what I was confused about. Like, why? But why? What was the motive?
Yeah, I don't know.
But essentially, Robert did this whole tape thing because he thought Harry could help him get rid of Edward.
Yeah, and Edward knew about Harriet's
Yeah.
deep dark secret and wanted her to tell him to trust him enough to tell him.
Yeah, he thought he found someone who also had this thing about them to kill, but he was waiting for her to confess to him so he can trust her with his secret. And she failed the test because she never ended up telling him. And it's this whole thing.
Yeah, so I'm trying to find
like why.
Well, you'll laugh at this. She literally asks him, "Why did you kill them, Ed?" I asked, desperate to buy more time for Robert to come around. He studies me for a second before speaking. "Why did you kill him?" Edward. So then Edward says, he said, "My first one was a mistake." And then she goes, "But the second wasn't, was it?" And he said, "The second was necessary. Lucy was there the day he died. She heard everything. I had little choice." Then she said, "And Allison, she was your first girlfriend, wasn't she? Did you have no choice then?" He said, "Yes, I had no choice. I thought I loved her, thought she loved me. I tried to tell her everything about Bobby, about Lucy, and I tried to be honest, and she ran from me." And he basically had to kill her because he didn't know what she would do or who she might tell with his secret.
Okay, at that point he was protecting himself, I guess.
Same with Gianna.
Okay.
He pulled her close in the hope she might be able to uncover how much she knew or suspected. And then I guess we don't know anything about the other ones. So there's that. I don't see anything about Melissa or, here we go. Okay. Why kill Eliza? She wasn't even close to you or Melissa. Eliza asked too many questions about the past, about our family. Matilda is too trusting, and Eliza got a little too close to the truth. But she had secrets as bad as yours, worse perhaps. And then I don't think there's anything about Melissa because she's like, "I found Melissa, by the way." I'm like, dang. I'm like, she went there. So then she sees that Robert is starting to count down while he's sitting in the chair, and she's like, "Oh, shit's about to go down," because he's counting down to something. And then she sees her prize because she got all 3 clues, and it said the ending was under a star. Well, it's under the star, the tree. which was,
Kerosene?
I think it was kerosene in the tree as an ornament. I'm like, okay.
Okay.
So basically because Edward has doused like the whole entire house with gasoline because he's gonna make it look like everyone died except her, and that like
Yeah.
he's basically framing her.
Yeah.
So she lights him on fire first.
Yeah.
And then his dumbass goes to lay down on the carpet that he just doused with kerosene to try to take the fire out, which lights him more on fire. Which as soon as he lay down, I was like, oh, wow. Okay.
Dumb.
So everyone makes it out except, well, obviously Fiona,
Edward.
but we don't care about her.
Oliver, who's
And
already
Oliver.
dead.
Yeah. So that means that their three boys are orphans, but I'm sure the family will take them in. I think they're going to be just fine.
And Robert has so much money that he made it go out to the news that it was just an accidental fire, just an unfortunate accident.
And then that family takes Harriet in as one of their own. And she has little baby Iris.
Yeah.
So, and Iris is going to inherit everything if she wants.
Everything.
Well, and also Edward had made a deal before he died with people, and he got $2.8 billion.
Oh, that's right. He sold his company.
So they're going to be just fine. And that's how it ends. Everyone that needed to die dies, and the other ones live happily ever after.
I do think it would have been more interesting if no one knew it was Edward. If they were just like, if Robert was like, did the tape to be like, hey, like suspiciously a bunch of the girls that my family dates ends up dead. And this is like my only way to secretly tell you because like, I don't know who it is. Like, I don't know who's listening or watching or whatever. And then it came out to be Edward.
I kind of almost wished also that we had kind of more of like an ending for the girls too. Like the ones that were deceased. I kind of wish there was like Melissa's family or I don't know, just something. I mean, obviously
because right now they just think they're missing, presumed dead.
Yeah, it makes me sad.
Well, I have questions.
Okay, I'm ready for the questions.
What did you think of Robert when he's first introduced? Oh, wow. Boomer.
I thought he was a sleazy scheme bag. I didn't like Robert I kind of liked him more at the end, but I did not like him in the beginning. He creeped me out very much. And it creeped me out even more that Harriet was like so into him. I was like, are you insane?
Yeah. Did you ever question Edward?
No, I was so naive reading this book. I thought for sure he was one of the good ones.
I know the way he was always so hesitant to be around his family in the first place. Yes. I thought maybe he was also just clueless as to what the hell was happening.
He really played like a good character of like
the long game.
Like, I can't do no wrong. I'm like, what?
Yeah. Did you think that Harry and Robert were gonna hook up at some point?
You know, I thought it could go there.
I thought like during Christmas that was like when I was talking to Robert, we just got so close. Somehow we ended up close to each other, and like something was gonna go down.
Yes, I thought it was when all the kids when they were playing. Well, I thought originally it was gonna happen at the Krampus game when the lights were out.
Oh, she accidentally bumped into Robert.
Exactly.
There were some weird details that came up, like how the guy playing Krampus felt her up, or like even how she was an author. How those things were mentioned, but not really like used to the full potential, or like not really ever mentioned again. Exactly. It didn't feel like it needed to be integrated.
Like the nanny, like you were saying, the nanny.
Yeah, like that could have been really.
Juicy. That could have been a really good, yes, and they just didn't use it to like their full potential.
Yeah. Okay. This question is what really got me. If Robert knew it was Edward murdering and he wanted Edward dead, why couldn't Robert just kill Edward himself? He has enough money to make a whole ass house fire seem like an accident, but he couldn't just hire someone to kill Edward.
I think he didn't want to get his hands dirty. I think he didn't want it on his conscience.
So he was going to just make Harry do it in case like it backfired or something.
Yep.
It's on her hands.
Yep. I don't think he was going to touch him. Not one bit. Nope.
If you had to play one of the games.
Oh my god, I thought you were going to say if you had to kill someone. Oh god.
Oh, no. If you had to play one of the games, which one would you play?
I feel like the Krampus one would make me pee my pants
I mean,
with the dark and stuff.
yeah.
I mean, probably the Krampus one.
Krampus one. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, not that I
Yeah.
have like a super dark secret that like would do something,
Yeah,
but
I don't have
people get
anything like
too intense.
I don't have anything like that, but also too, like I'm really bad at those like word riddles. Yeah, probably that one because also the Christmas one, like that makes you like go outside. Like my brain,
Mhm.
but there's just the Krampus game limits it to the house. You don't really have to
That's
think
true.
too much. I
Yeah.
would, you know me, I overthink. I overthink
Mm,
really badly. That
mm,
Christmas game would make me overthink to like no end.
yeah. You'd end
There's
up somewhere completely else.
I know. So we're gonna go with Krampus. Even though that guy would have
Mm,
terrified me, I think we would have went with
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's gonna be my final answer.
What is Krampus game?
What is Krampus? Ding ding ding. Exactly.
Will you read more from her?
I'm intrigued. I
Hmm.
think like I'm not gonna go out of my way, but if I saw
Yeah.
it, then I might be like,
Yeah.
meh.
I don't. Maybe I'll read her more popular backlist one,
Yeah.
but maybe I'll just read whatever her next one turns out to be.
Well, yeah, and it's not a bad book, and I feel bad
No.
too because she liked our post that we posted.
Oh, did she? Oh, oh, I did not recall.
Yes, and now I
I
can't
just.
tag her in anything.
I didn't think it was a bad book. I just think that there were some plot things that maybe
Yeah.
could have just worked out a little better and we got some kinks out just because, I don't know, some spots got me and like some places were a little slower and the action didn't keep up at the beginning enough.
Yeah.
But I read this book so fast.
Oh, I did not.
Oh, it was a little bit hard at the beginning, but once I started reading the back half of it, I
Hmm.
read it in one sitting.
Oh, the back half, yeah. Once I kind of got over that hump,
Yeah.
then like last night, I was like, I need to read this book. I need to know what happens.
Hmm.
Like I wanted to read it, and so that's why I gave it a 4 because I was like, it kept me intrigued enough that like I
Yeah.
had to finish.
I was entertained, and that's all I can ask for a book. And
Exactly.
the suspense was there, and like
Yeah.
you really do just want to like get through and be like, oh, wait, how does that connect? Like, oh, why is that a thing?
Yeah.
Like, oh, what's the secret? And yeah,
Hmm.
it really just kept you going. But why couldn't she just fucking listen to the whole goddamn tape out once? Pissed me off.
And I liked too because she's a writer and she writes like murder mysteries, she's got a
Mhm.
police friend,
I want more of him.
and
He
so
seems great.
she was like trying to like talk to him about the tape, but like not talk to him
Yeah,
about the tape,
but not,
and,
yeah.
and he was just like, well, I would be screaming at the book, make a second tape, make a second tape, and she was
Why
like,
didn't you record it?
yeah, she was like, okay, that's good. And then she accidentally recorded over the first half anyways,
Yeah,
so it didn't even matter. Yeah,
yeah.
but I
Harry.
thought I am very excited for next week's.
Oh yeah. We have The Perfect Child by Lucinda Berry. Reading about some evil kid or
Yes.
kids. Not 100% sure.
No,
But
it's just
yeah,
one. It's just one
it's just
kid.
one kid.
So
One kid.
I've read where am I at? I'm almost to the I'm almost finished with chapter 1. But it's pretty good so far. So it's about a Christopher and Hannah, they're a surgeon and a nurse, and they cannot have children. Her uterus is inhospitable.
Mm-hmm.
And so when a 6-year-old abandoned child turns up at the hospital that they work at, Christopher forms an instant connection with her.
Mm-hmm.
And Hannah, like they want to take her home, but Janie is the child's name, and she's no
Mm.
ordinary child, and she's got some mental
Ah.
problems. And so the child's very devoted to Christopher, and she acts out in disturbing ways, directing all her rage at Hannah. And so it starts to form like the cracks between Christopher and Hannah in their
Uh,
marriage and kind of putting them against each
mm.
other. And they like find out about the truth about Janie's past and all of that stuff. And so the prologue is the caseworker in the police like holding room talking about Hannah and Christopher and like the family. She was like, I had no idea this would happen and like all this stuff, and the police were like, well, the crime scene was really bad and like all that. Yeah, and I'm like, what's going on? Also, the author is a trauma psychologist and a leading researcher in childhood trauma.
Oh, I didn't know
She's
that.
a doctor. So
shit.
This is going to be a fun, it's going to be good in the sense of she knows what she's writing about. So I'm very
creepy kid.
She uses her clinical experience to create disturbing psychological thrillers, blurring the line between fiction and nonfiction. I think
this is also classified as horror. I know a lot of her other books are also classified horror.
I have heard this book is very, very creepy.
Dope. Very dope.
We forgot to do my. Yeah,
get them 1 stars. I'm excited because since this was a book of the month, I'm sure a lot of people have gotten their grubby little hands on this book. So I'm sure there's going to be a good mix of reviews here.
We need to think of a name for this little segment someday. Okay, so on Goodreads, it is a 3.90 stars, 43,276 ratings.
That's lower than I thought it'd be.
Let's go into the 1 star. I don't expect thrillers to be based in reality, but there was little to no logic behind anything that happened in the story. Someone rated it, girl, you did not have a mince pie at Rockefeller Center. Okay. The cover is more exciting than the story ends up being. Someone else wrote, my God, what was that?
My God.
Someone just wrote idiotic. That's it.
Oh. Wow.
Another person, slow, boring, stupid. This is not a psychological thriller. This is not even in the same zip code.
God damn.
Oh my God. No, this book was offensively bad. Oh my gosh.
This was from October?
Okay, this is my favorite one. This one, I'm ending this book, or I'm ending this segment on this one. Ready or not, this is not.
That's a good one. That's good.
Ready or not, this is not. And that comment was by a lovely lady named Shelby 5 months ago. Thank you, Shelby.
Thank you.
That was fantastic.
Literary art, that sentence.
Oh, wow. That was ready or not, this is not.
This is not.
Okay. I think I want to use that in my daily life.
I think so.
Can you make a sticker? I need a sticker. Ready or not?
Ready or not?
This is not. I love it.
I looked up the books that were offered on Book of the Month for October because I'm curious because I thought there'd be a lot more readers from that.
Oh, yes.
But it was The Family Game.
Okay.
Sign Here. Can't read the author. Claudia.
I don't know that. I don't know that book.
Sign Here is, I think it's about like a demon thing trying to recruit people to come to hell. I think it was like lighthearted, not mystery, but it was meant to be a little comedic, I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
It's a paranormal fiction. There was Thistlefoot, which was a fantasy. I think that had to do with folklore.
I've heard of Thistlefoot, yeah.
Foul Lady Fortune by Chloe Gong.
Okay.
Hester, a historical fiction. The Foul Lady Fortune was a YA. Jacqueline in Paris, a historical fiction, and As Long as the Lemon Trees Grow, which was a YA by a debut author. Which that one I heard was really good.
I've not heard that book.
And has made people cry. I own it.
Oh. Huh.
I do it. I don't own. I have.
You have Thistlefoot, don't you?
Trees. I have Thistlefoot. I want Sign Here. I've heard good things about it. But yeah, I guess. I mean, those are a lot of options to choose from. So maybe people just weren't feeling the thriller Oh, maybe they
Maybe.
went a little spookier because it was October, so maybe they went with like the demon one or the
Oh,
Thistlefoot folklore-y
that makes
one.
sense because I was like, why is there
Hmm.
no romance? Okay, October. Got it.
In
Got it.
October.
Okay.
That part just clicked in my head.
I was like, why? Usually they do. They do
Uh,
romance. Okay, that makes sense.
Soon we're going to be scheduling out the summer months book reads, and I've found out that there is like a book readathon thingy that is Halloween themed, and it's called Summerween, since it's like halfway to Halloween. So I'm
Love
gonna
it.
figure out which weekend that is, and
Okay,
we can participate.
that'd be
Get a little
fun.
spooky vibes, summer
Wow.
spooky vibes,
Love it. Love it.
little spooky stories around the campfire
Where we have our
or
flashlights up.
flashlight
Hmm.
up our
Yeah,
nose.
exactly.
Uh, if you want to know what else we're reading, you can check out our Instagram at Baby Got Stacks Podcast, where we have our schedule up. We also have links to where else on the internet we are, like our Goodreads. You can see what books we have. Boomy, why are you chirping? Do
He's
you
got a
hear
lot to
him?
say too. Yeah, he's got a lot to say
Yeah,
too.
he's got
He's
little
also like, I
tadpoles
am
waiting
also
by the
here.
door. Oh, you cannot see them. But yeah, you can check out our Goodreads, see what books we have, what we're reading, if we're doing anything else on there. Still a TikTok. It's probably still active. We don't know.
Fun
You
fact,
can find
that
out.
TikTok was banned in Montana.
Which TikTok?
Like the app TikTok banned in
Oh
Montana.
shit! I didn't
Yeah.
actually think
Okay.
anyone was gonna go through with that. That's in
Fun.
Montana.
Yeah,
How
Montana.
do you
Fun
ban
fact
it
for
in
you.
one state? Like if I
I
were
don't
to
know.
cross into Montana, does it shut off?
Also,
How
how do
does
you know
that
it's like
happen?
not on my phone? I don't know. That
Already.
that can be a
Is it gonna be like
tangent.
when what is that Flappy
Oh,
Bird?
Flappy Bird.
Like
Flappy
how
Bird
people were
didn't get.
selling phones that had Flappy Bird on it for
Oh my
super
God,
expensive.
maybe. Honestly, Instagram and Facebook has TikTok videos anyways half the time.
I was gonna say they
Hell,
just reposted on
I've
there.
seen AFV. I've seen them post have
Yeah,
things from
yeah.
TikTok. So I'm like, meh.
Everyone has a TikTok.
I don't understand. Yeah, it's a whole thing. But yes,
Yeah.
so we'll
Mm,
post something on there at some point.
one day.
Someday. Someday.
Yeah, I think that's about it. Follow us wherever you're listening to this podcast, and thanks for hanging out with us.
Thanks, guys. Well, we'll see you next week.
Yes. Bye.
Bye, guys.